Something else came up this week that was being introduced. Small business loans. They put them out recently, and the same greed-based companies harvested all the money. It's not going to the small people. It's the same conglomerate, corporate or corporate group entities again. Only they've started a new one where the business loans is being arranged where the owner is responsible for paying back the loan in just 6 years. And no one asks the question as to why the business owners and the people had to pay for this program. Clearly the clowns in Los Angeles who are buying up all the properties, they're not paying back, are they? Or the clowns in New York. Why didn't those people get jail, as mentioned earlier, for the tax bank scandal? It's just rules for them and rules for us, or non-rules for them and all rules for us. So let's get this small business loans down to brutal reality here. Rogue elements deliberately created this virus for depopulation and other programs running in the background to take advantage of it. One was to loot stock markets. Two, loot oil markets, and when they both failed, loot the Social Security, Medicare and the 401ks to provide less than 1 to 2% of the people with the promised stimulus checks. Look, we sent lots of checks out to dead people.
I see dead people.
4, realizing that there is a lot less liquid cash available. They shut down the world's businesses and industries minus their own. 5, with no place open, less people to pay, less circulation of a dwindling money supply, and banks keep the illusion going for a bit longer. There is no money. 6, to accomplish that, they then put the people in the lockdown. 7, having watched people comply all so easily, they begin plotting other draconian measures as no kickback came from the public. 8, with businesses collapsing and or on the brink, the same harvesters wait like vultures to pick over the carcass. Our members were told of this years back and re-warned in January when Warren Buffett was hoarding cash. Why? To buy up the failing businesses that was about to unfold. 9. The BBC correspondent told people directly what they were doing when asked why the lockdown. Because, quote, we haven't infected enough people yet, unquote. 10. You do realise social distancing is an MK Ultra tactic, don't you? Oops. Like putting people in solitary confinement. Why? To break people's psyche and their spirit is why. 11. They are sitting in decorated rooms guffawing of how stupid the humans are and how easily they bow down to the new self-appointed gods. Fact. So back to the small business loans again. So companies are now going to borrow at their own expense for a program being ran on them by all their governments, as not one spoke out of the real truth, having lost revenue for a minimum of 7 weeks, and so have less funds to play with, and their government pushes them into taking up a loan which the companies have to pay back whilst under financial stress. And we tolerate this shit. Why wasn't the 800 million in fines to the Israeli bank given to the people? Oops, bit of common sense there. Can't do that. No, we should not be tolerating it. And while so many fall for the illusion, it becomes a difficult task. And this is why recently I've asked you all to stand your ground, remain calm, 45-55, whilst all around you fall. And they are. But we fight on, as much progress has been made, although at an impasse currently. But largely this whole event has been caused by the work that has been done. And now they're in the public for more to see. And the death rattle has begun. People get frustrated and then project onto others. Yet curiously they don't target rogue people or groups, only the very few who are actually doing something. And there's a massive lesson in and of that, and yet again it explains why humanity has not been out of the pit in thousands of years. The real ones who hurt or damage them, they never approach or make them accountable, and yet will attack ordinary people, some of whom have helped, supported or cared for, are all cast aside all too easily in a volley of nasty words and abusive and controlling behaviours. Life is about choices. Many choices go or turn out wrong, largely due to cultural and societal programming. But those are supposed to be the learning lessons, a chance to future correct your course or path, or so we thought. Yet everywhere you look now, on every level, the same stupid mistakes over and over again. Clowns doing repeat programs over and over since 2012 and failing repeatedly, yet still wonder why it's not working. Perhaps they should have listened to this show a bit more. Could have told them from January 2013 that nothing would ever work again like it used to. Don't believe me? Fine. I will sit back and watch you use vast resources, manpower, endless trolls and your dwindling funds trying to replicate the past programs then, and laugh at your own stupidity, like you do to us. People buy homes in a boom and wonder why the house went tits up and upside down. People buy into several Ponzi and get rich quick schemes, most of which fail, and yet the public still chases the white rabbit, but never catches up to it. The lottery ticket is the same program, It's another tax on we the people, and the same clowns harvest the profits, whilst dangling carrots on a chance of winning and becoming like them. A jackass, basically. As most people with volumes of money are pretentious, fake jackasses. Again, the public rinse and repeat it. People every 4 years hope and believe this next party and elected leader will be different. Was it ever? But they'll repeat it again the next election. And then you have the curious case of repeated behavioural patterns of the abused female, who jump from one relationship to another with the exact same type of guy. You have many women crying out for love, yet when it's presented with it in their face, they'll shun that for a guy who abuses them. Repeated behaviours. And why is it so many women prefer the bad guys to the nice guys? When people wonder why the good guys in general society hardly ever win. There's a lesson in that. Because the selections are indicative of a wider problem. Good guys are considered untrustworthy. There has to be something not right, and they can't be that nice, and so they will avoid them. Does that make any sort of sense? And like I said at the beginning of the show, how can you build a society when the nurturing archetype mistrusts or neglects the few people who are actually nice and kind-hearted? And it is the few. No matter how much you fudge or gloss over the reality of it all. And it's the classic doublespeak of saying one thing and doing the exact opposite. Does any female question themselves as to how and why they do that? Yes, I know many men are bastards, and I get that. But I did a piece last year asking, what is love? Have you defined it? Clearly not in many cases, given the veracity some females go to defending their males who have used and abused them. All kinds of excuses come out to justify not letting go of the abuser. And it's Stockholm Syndrome on a massive scale. You deserve better. Why are so many men terrified of females these days? Terrified to ask them out, terrified to speak or approach them? Why has so many of that archetype become so cold-hearted and dismissive? How can you demand or request love with a cold and dismissive heart? The answer is you can't. And the answer to the problems faced, as always, lies within you. I'm off to load up on my heart armour, Bose noise-cancelling headphones, hard hat and shielding until the next show. Who would have thought telling the truth, improving people's lives, caring for and helping people while asking for nothing in return would render you a life of lockdown, threats, endless attacks, rejections, and verbal abuse, and an almost pariah status. It's a mad world.